Hi guys, I'm Krista from KISS 100.5. So if you haven't heard already, we have something very exciting going on right now. We have teamed up with Sleep Country Canada and the Salvation Army for the Pajamas and Storybooks for Better Bedtimes campaign. So basically for this initiative, they're going to have bins in store and will be collecting gently used and new pajamas and storybooks for children in need. A great thing about this is everything stays local. So all the donations are going to be going to local charities and organizations such as the Salvation Army. To top it off too, they're going to be giving away coupons to get $15 off every $100 spent in store. This can be redeemed at all Sleep Country Canada locations all throughout the country. Now, without further ado, I am so pleased to read a storybook to all of the wonderful children out there and those young at heart. Thank you.
Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, by the edge of a deep, dark wood, there lived a little girl. Her mother adored her, and her grandmother lived in the next village. Grandmother made the little girl a red hood like the ones fine ladies wear when they go riding. The child loved the hood so much that she wore it every single day, and soon everybody was calling her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother baked some cakes on the griddle and said, "Little Red Riding Hood, your granny is sick. Take her these cakes and a bottle of wine. It'll cheer her right up." So Little Red Riding Hood set off to the next village to visit her grandmother. As she walked through the wood, she met a wolf, who, being a wolf, wanted to eat her up, but did not dare to because there were woodcutters working nearby. "Where are you going, little girl?" the wolf asked, smiling sweetly. The child did not know how dangerous it was to talk to strangers, particularly wolves, and replied, "To my grandmother's, Mr. Wolf, and I have cakes and wine to cheer her up." "And where does your grandmother live, child?" asked the wolf. "Oh, she lives beyond the wood, near the old mill," replied Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender young creature. She would make a plump and tasty meal. She would be better to eat than the old woman, I'm sure, but if I am crafty, I can eat both of them." The wolf smiled, another big, toothy smile. "My child," he said, "cakes and wines are all very well, but what grannies really, really love are flowers. Look around you, the wood is full of wonderful flowers. Take a bunch to your old grandmother." Little Red Riding Hood looked around, and it was true. The wood was carpeted with a blue haze of bluebells. "Good idea, Mr. Wolf." "Thank you, Mr. Wolf," said Red Riding Hood. She began to pick the flowers. When the little girl gathered blue shells, the wolf ran the shortest path to Grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who is there?" called Grandma from inside. The wolf put on his best high, girly voice. "Lift up the hatch and walk right in," called Grandmother. The wolf lifted the hatch, and without saying a word, he went straight to Grandmother's bed and gobbled her up. Then he put on her clothes, put on her cap, drew the curtains, and lay down in bed. Red Riding Hood knocked on the door and heard a croaky voice say, "Who's there?" "Poor Grandmother," she thought. "She sounds very sick." "Red Riding Hood, Granny, I've come to cheer you up." "Lift the latch and come right in, my dear," croaked the wolf, trying to pull the cap down further over his ears. Little Red Riding Hood lifted the latch and stepped into the dark room. "Oh, Granny," Red Riding Hood said, as she pulled the curtains, "what big ears you have." "All the better to hear you with, my child," came the reply. Little Red Riding Hood stepped closer to the figure in the bed. "But Grandmother, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with, my dear," said the wolf, trying to smile sweetly. "Oh, but Grandmother, what big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with," said the wolf, and leapt upon Little Red Riding Hood and swallowed her whole. Then he lay down on the bed, patted his big, fat stomach, and fell fast asleep, and began to snore very loudly. A little while later, a woodcutter on his way to work passed by Grandmother's cottage and was surprised by the sound of snoring. "I've never heard the old lady make such a racket," thought a woodcutter. "I must see if she's all right." And in he went and found the wolf wearing Grandmother's clothes and sleeping on her bed. "You old rogue," thought the woodcutter, and he was about to chop the wolf in two when he thought the grandmother might still be saved. With his sharpest saw, he carefully cut open the fat stomach of the sleeping wolf, and out sprang Red Riding Hood, followed by Grandmother, who was most upset that the woodcutter saw her in her underwear. Then they filled the wolf up with heavy stones, and Grandmother sewed up his stomach. When the wolf woke up, he was so heavy and so slow he couldn't catch anything ever again, and became a vegetarian. Little Red Riding Hood was always very careful about speaking to strangers ever since then. The end.